Hello you guys, and welcome back to Hot Girls Eat Carbs, your cozy corner of the internet where we talk all things wellness, self-love and sustainable weight loss. Whether you're listening on your hot girl walk, mid-skincare, or curled up with a cup of tea, or just trying to find a little peace in the chaos, I am so happy you're here. And I know I say this every time, but I really mean it. This podcast wouldn't exist without you. Every message, every listen, and every story you share with me, it means everything. And if you've been loving this podcast lately, it would mean the absolute world if you could share this episode with a friend or post it to your stories or even leave a quick review. Those little things help this podcast grow in such a big way, and they help it reach women who really need it. So thank you truly. And I want to start this episode by sharing a little story, because what we're talking about today is deeply personal, navigating change and learning to get comfortable with the discomfort that comes with it. I remember the first time I really felt like the ground underneath me was shifting. I had just made the decision to leave my old job, a job that looked good on paper, that paid the bills, that felt safe, but deep down, I knew it wasn't aligned anymore. I knew I was going through the motions. It felt disconnected from my body, from my goals, and honestly, who I was. And around that same time, I started shifting my lifestyle, cleaning up my diet, moving more, and taking my health more seriously. But what I didn't expect was how lonely that change would actually feel. The routines, the habits, the people, everything I had built, my identity around was suddenly evolving. And I panicked. I questioned everything. I missed the comfort of who I used to be, even though I knew she wasn't where I wanted to stay. There were days where I felt so lost. I would cry on the bathroom floor. In between doing all the right things, I was walking 10K steps, meal prepping, journaling, and I still felt like I had no idea who I was becoming. And this season taught me everything. It taught me that the middle, that messy, blurry space between who I used to be and who I was becoming, is where the real work happens. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. Because if you're currently in a season where things feel uncertain, if your friendships are shifting, if your goals don't feel as exciting anymore, if your body is changing and your routines aren't clicking the way they used to, you are not broken. You're just evolving. And that's okay. It doesn't have to feel cute or clear right now. Growth doesn't always look like glowing skin and perfect routines and aesthetic Pinterest boards. Sometimes it looks like crying in your car and then going home and cooking a high-protein dinner anyway. Sometimes it looks like choosing a walk over a night out. And sometimes it looks like setting boundaries and then sitting in the guilt that comes with it. I've said this before, but it's worth repeating. There have been so many seasons where I didn't recognize my life, where everything I used to cling to felt like it was falling apart. And I used to fight it. I used to try and fix the discomfort, to fill the silence with plans and productivity, to force clarity so I wouldn't have to sit with the unknown. But the truth is, clarity doesn't come from rushing. It comes from being willing to sit in the quiet and listen. And when I finally did, that is when everything shifted. Not externally, but internally. I stopped needing to have all the answers. I stopped trying to rush the rebuild. And instead, I let myself be in the in-between. I let the loneliness come, and I let the grief surface. Grief for the version of me I was leaving behind. And yes, even though she wasn't aligned anymore, she still felt safe. But safe doesn't always mean right. And you know what happens when you stop resisting change? You start rebuilding from alignment. You stop asking, what do I need to fix? And you start asking, what feels right for me right now? Who am I becoming? What does she need? It doesn't feel glamorous. It's slow. It's emotional. And it's a lot of trusting what you can't see. But that is where your power comes from. That is where your softness becomes strength. And that is where you're becoming the woman that you've always wanted to be. And it's not through force, but through trust. And trust is something you build in the middle, in the blurry, the wobbly, the deeply uncomfortable middle. We don't talk enough about the cocoon, the part of your story that isn't a glow up yet, the part when you're quietly showing up for yourself, even when it's not cute, the part when you're releasing, rebuilding, repeating habits, even when you're not seeing results yet. That part matters. So if you are in that season right now, I just want you to say, you're not behind, you're not broken, you're in the middle of becoming. And yeah, it's hard, even when you choose the change, even when you wanted the shift. But the discomfort isn't a sign that you're on the wrong path. It's often a sign that you're finally on the right one. So how do you hold yourself through it? Let's talk about some of the tools. Real, grounded, soft ways to stay centered in the middle of change. Create soft structure. You don't need a strict 10-step morning routine to change your life. You need rituals, anchors, tiny sacred things that remind your body, I am safe and I am still here. Think your favorite mug, a podcast during your walk, music while you clean, journaling while you have your coffee. These aren't about productivity, they're about peace. Release the timeline. You're not late. You're not missing your moment. And sometimes the biggest breakthroughs take time because they're built on depth, not speed. The work you're doing in the dark is preparing you for something you can't even see yet. Speak to yourself like somebody you love. Self-compassion is a skill, and it's everything during change. Your inner voice should sound like your best friend, not a bully. If you wouldn't say it to somebody you love, don't say it to yourself. You won't feel ready, and that's okay. You're not supposed to. Readiness is built through action. You don't get confident first. You show up messy, nervous, unsure, and confidence is what follows. Romanticize the rebuild. This part of your journey is worthy of self-love and attention. Light a candle, play a playlist, cook a nourishing meal, get dressed, even when you're home alone. The rebuild isn't about who you're becoming. It's about how you hold yourself along the way. Maybe life feels weird right now. Maybe you're in a chapter where nobody prepared you for. The routines don't feel the same, the relationships don't feel as aligned, and maybe things that once made sense just don't anymore. And that is completely okay. Really, it is. This isn't a breakdown. This is the sacred stretch, the middle ground, the blurry, messy, beautiful in between. This is the part where your next level is being built. Not by doing more, not by proving yourself, not by rushing through the discomfort, but by showing up softer, by breathing through the uncertainty, by trusting your own timing, by honoring the messy part of the magic. And there is so much strength in the softness, so much power in simply staying present with the process, even when you don't have all the answers yet. And I know that it's not easy, and I know it would be so much more convenient just to shut down and go back to what's familiar, to shrink into the version of yourself that you didn't have to feel so much about. But you're not that girl anymore. You've already started becoming her, the one who holds herself through change, the one who doesn't run from the tension, but the one who leans into the grace, the one who might not feel ready, but shows up anyway. So here's your little reminder, your gentle, firm pep talk. You're not behind, you're not failing, and you're not broken. You're becoming, you're doing better than you think. You're learning how to trust your own voice. You're learning how to let go of timelines that never were meant to be yours to begin with. You're learning how to stop chasing the old and start aligning with what actually feels good. And even if no one else sees how hard you're trying right now, I see it. Even just listening to this episode, even just being here in this moment with me, this is proof that you are leaning into your own growth. You are choosing to expand, and you're choosing to stay. And that is everything, babe. So take the pressure off. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to keep showing up for yourself. Softly, gently, and consistently. Keep doing the little things that bring you back to you. Because they're not small, they're sacred. If this episode spoke to you, and if this helped you feel seen or grounded or just a little less alone, I would love for you to share it with somebody who may need it too. So if you could post it on your stories, send it to your bestie, or just leave a little review. This is how this community grows, and I'm so grateful that you're a part of it. And if you're ready for deeper support, structure, strategy, and a coaching container that meets you where you are, my one-on-one coaching applications are open, and this is where we take everything we talk about here and apply it to your actual life, your goals, your energy, your food, your mindset, and your movement. You don't have to navigate this discomfort alone. And honestly, you were never meant to. You can apply through the link in the show notes below. And that's all I have for you today, so keep showing up for yourself and keep working towards being the best version of you. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next episode.